Detroit Den 313. We are back. Steve and Will talking Detroit Lions football. But before we get started, you know what you need to do. Hit that subscribe button. Don't forget the bell icon so you don't miss any of our new content. Full disclaimer. My boy Steve and I have had a day, just living life, zigging, zagging, running, doing things. And we're wrapping this thing up, just trying to hang on for dear life to put out some content for you guys. Please show us some love, because this one's it takes some guts, but we are excited about it. Steve, I think they know what we're talking, but tell them what we're talking.
I'm hard in the pants. After watching today's combine, I'm sold on 2 or 3 guys at pick 29. I'm sold. I'm convinced. I'm happy. We're going to be talking D linemen, linebackers today. That's who played That's who participated in the combine. D line, linebacker, position of need for the Detroit Lions. I'll tell you right now, I got a top 5 of who stuck out today. Full disclaimer, did not get to watch the workouts for the second and third groups. I had to leave, go to the Red Wings game after the second group went out and ran their 40s. I made sure I stayed for that, but I did not get to watch their workouts. But I did get to watch all the 40 times for the first 2 groups. But man, this D-line class is deep. It is going to be a very interesting draft. But who stood out to you the most today?
From the D-line?
Yes, or just in general, just today in general.
Steve, listen, I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to give me a layup.
It's not a trick question.
You're trying to give me. Oh, I know it's not a trick question.
Yeah, they don't come much easier.
Listen, people, here's what literally we could have did. If I'm being real serious, we could have just put Mr. Fisk on the thumbnail and just said good night, draft him at 29 and got off. Show over. Show over. I will say this, just because I'm petty. There's a couple of you guys that said, why are we even talking about Fisk? Because he's a 3rd round pick. I keep receipts. I'm not gonna post you, but know that I know.
I'm not sure he was a 3rd round pick before the combine, if we're being honest. But
yeah, if we're being honest, 100%. But we keep it polite, though. We keep it polite. But dude's a dog. Back to business. Dude's a dog. 300 pounds, running 4.7. What else do we need to talk about? And it's way deeper than obviously the combine, but all of the drills. Steve, you said it, and I agree. He looked like a monster.
He looked the best at every single drill.
The 40, he was a monster. He got it done. He's just a phenomenal football player. But, hey, guys, no need to overreact. Does he have the most violent hands out of this class? That hasn't changed. He doesn't. He does not have the most violent hands. He probably don't even have the top 5 most violent hands in this class. But if we're talking about the best overall defensive tackle, to me, after today, I feel like he solidified himself as a guy who is a day 1 pick, not day 2, which was a toss-up. He's a day 1 pick. And if he was the first D tackle taken, I would not be surprised. Now, he wasn't the only one that did well. There's some other guys that did well, but I am extremely excited about what he did. And just the thought of him just potentially slipping to 29 excites me. Steve, how'd you feel about him today?
He checked 3 out of the 4 boxes for me today. If you look at his tape, he's a dog on tape. He comes out, he shows his athleticism, shows his skill. The only box he didn't check, and it's because I wasn't in the room personally, is how he interviewed. He nailed every single thing that we saw on camera. We don't know how he interviewed in the rooms, but you said something about how someone taught you how to watch tape, and you said you just throw on a play. If you're a dog all the time, you should be a dog every play. If you watch Braden Fisk's tape, that's what you see. He comes out to the combine. If you think he was a 3rd round pick, I don't know. I didn't think he would be there at pick 61 3 days ago. He's definitely not going to be there at pick 61 right now. He might have put himself in the 1st round with his size, athleticism, his game tape. He hit a home run today.
Steve, I did a mock draft just screwing around because obviously the both of us can say this is something that we probably spend too much time on, probably. Like, you know what I mean? So it's something that we absolutely love. It's something that we might even could say we have a borderline addiction to. So I'm just tinkering around with the mock drafts. I did a mock draft where I got him in the 3rd round.
That'll change. Those
And
things are going to change.
yeah, so it's I started to, because the mock draft was just phenomenal, man. It was just, it didn't even make sense. Every stars were aligning. And I had him and I had Edrin Cooper, and I was like, it just didn't make sense what happened. I almost posted and said, "Hey, listen, tell Brad to call me." Joke, but I just the thought that it kind of goes into the Jahmyr Gibbs thing. People will set up these mock drafts and they do it by, you know, the analytics of who's probably going to go where based on what they think. And same thing last year, Jahmyr Gibbs, he's a 2nd rounder. And in some mock drafts that we were tinkering around with last year, you could get Jahmyr Gibbs at the beginning of the 3rd round. Mr. Fisk is going to be gone in the 1st round. I don't think that after what he did today, I don't think that there's a world where 32 teams pass on him. It would just be absolutely shocking to me. So I'm excited to see what happens. I would love for the Lions to choose him. But with that being said, there were some other players that stood out today. Steve, who else stood out to you?
I think the other talk of the town is Chop Robinson, Penn State defensive end / outside linebacker. What did he run? I got him down at a 4.49. 4.49. What is? I can't remember his height and weight. Do you remember off the top of your head? I didn't take a note of that.
I don't know what they had him as. 6'3", 250.
That's what I was going to guess. Okay, 6'3", 250, ran a 4.49. Another position of need for the Detroit Lions. That is a lot of speed. We've been talking all offseason about getting faster. We talked about Dallas Turner, Chop Robinson. Those two guys, one of them is probably going to run the fastest 40 time for this position group. I didn't get to see what Dallas Turner ran off the top of my head. Do you happen to know that by chance?
What Dallas Turner ran?
Yeah.
Faster.
Did he? Was he?
Yeah. 4.46.
Wow. Okay. So Dallas Turner also barely stuck out. Like I said, guys, I didn't get to watch Group 3. That must have been where Dallas Turner was. But obviously those two guys, best 2 pass rushers from the standing outside linebacker position. How do you feel about Chop Robinson?
I think he upped his stock, man. And I haven't got an opportunity to go back and watch the film, but I think we still got to keep it in perspective that this is still the Pajama Olympics. Right? We still got to take everything that happened today with a grain of salt. When I watch the combine, I'm looking to solidify the things that I believe that I saw on film. I'm not looking to change my thought process. And aside from that, I'm looking to see if I can see some guys that do things to make me go back to the film. But at the end of the day, it is about, like Bo Schembechler said, the team. At the end of the day, it is about the film. It is about playing football, not running track, not doing a American Ninja Warrior obstacle course. We are playing football with a helmet, shoulder pads on, and a guy behind us trying to do mean things to us. All right, so I just got to keep that into perspective. So Chop running really fast. I definitely have to put that into consideration. I love this height and weight. I'll tell you that. I've seen a lot of people listing him as 6'2", so to see the combine have him at 6'3". It's not too many times where the combine is listing you bigger than I thought that you might be. So
the combine's about as strict as it gets too.
Yeah. So I really liked his height. I liked his weight. He looked great. He didn't just look good in the 40. He looked good in the drills. He looks like a put together guy. The lower half was just solid, He looks explosive and powerful. I think he did a lot to up his stock. I think that he goes from a guy that was being talked about on the back end of the 1st round to a guy that he goes up as high as the middle of the draft, now. So knowing those teams, I think he's going to be selected in those teams now based off of what he did today.
I agree. Again, he checks all the boxes except for the interviews, because we don't know about that. We won't see that unless the Detroit Lions draft him, and we won't see that until Inside the Den comes out. But you put Chop Robinson's tape on, he's a monster. He's an athlete. We showed that today. He's got all the skills. We don't know about his personality in his interview. But another guy, like you said, upped his stock today. Let's real quick. There's some good stuff in the combine. There was some really bad stuff in the combine, and I think you know where I'm going with this.
I don't know where you're going.
Tavondre Sweat could not have had a worse combine today.
Man, here's what I'll say, man. A lot of people are saying that at his size, they feel good about the fact that he ran, I think 5'2". That they feel good about it because he came in at 366. But I've said it before, and it's kind of why I got off of him. And I think it's the reason why you and I both agreed not to even to do a show on him. And it's really because we don't come out in odd front a whole lot. We don't come out with an odd front with a nose, right? With a zero tech. That's just not what we do typically. On top of that, the dude came into Texas as a freshman, and he looked like a basketball player. And now he's a very large human being. I think it's very different when the good Lord says that you're just going to be a large human being and you live your life, all your life as a large human being. And when you eat your way into being a large human being, and that's not throwing any shade on anybody, guys. I used to be in shape, and I've worked my way to a dad bod. So it's not about throwing shade. It's about football. And I think that he is going to Zion Williamson his way out of the league. Like, he is going to eat his way out of a position. He's already the NFL Combine was an opportunity for him to just make a bag. All he had to do was just come in phenomenal shape, and he would have got buku dollars. Right? But he did. So if you can't do it for the NFL Combine, he went to Texas. So I don't want to hear he doesn't have trainer. No, he had
Texas has some of the best trainers.
They got money.
Nutritionists, the top of the line.
He could have went to any combine prep he wanted to. This guy came in at 366. It didn't look like a great 366 to me. He has an ability to come in slimmer. He didn't. He could have been more solid than he was. He didn't. He is somebody that I would absolutely want to steer clear from. But it's a couple people that I heard said that they liked what they saw, and maybe I'm just completely off base.
You know why he ran a 5.2, right?
I don't.
He stopped for a hot dog halfway through his 40.
I cannot. I won't participate in that. I won't.
Streets are talking. That's what they're saying.
I won't. I'm not.
No, I will say this. For his size, it's impressive that he's athletic as he is. Yeah. But like you said, it's not a healthy weight. It's not a healthy, jacked, beefy 366. I'm going to use this word, and it's the nicest word I can think of. It's a loose weight. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to body shame the guy. But like you said, when he came to Texas as a freshman, he looked like a defensive end, like a Romeo Okwara type physique. And now he is more of a Vince Wilfork type physique and maybe even worse. So I don't think he had a good day, and his RAS score is absolutely terrible. Let me see. I got it on my phone here real quick. I lied. I don't have it on my phone, but I did see it on Twitter. His RAS score was absolutely terrible. Not good. Like I said, for his size, it's impressive what he does. But in the NFL, comparing him to other defensive tackles, I think at the end of the day, he was probably the worst in the drills, in the physique, in how he looked, in the 40 time. Just an ultimate pass for me.
Yeah, I will say to the contrary of that, when I'm looking at the NFL Combine rankings, they have him ranked as the 8th defensive tackle.
So I don't know if I agree with that. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I think it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a guy to just plug holes and be a zero tech and play
he's probably the number 1 nose tackle. But if I have to put him in the category of defensive tackle, he's not in my top 8.
He's not a guy that I would be looking at, man. But that's just me. I don't know.
Let's talk about a local kid, because I don't want to say I'm gaining interest. I'm interested in what the interest is. Let's talk about Darius Robinson. Yeah. I didn't get to watch his workouts. I have him at a 4.95 40-yard dash. Not bad. He's 6'5", 282, somewhere in that range. But what interests me is they kept harping and talking on NFL Network about how he had 18 interviews with other teams. Yeah. Now, what that tells me is there's 32 teams picking in the draft. So some of those teams are at the front of the draft. Is this going to be a situation where a team drafts a player and wants to move back into the late of the first round.
Yeah.
Hint, hint, Detroit Lions, with 18 teams interviewing him. That kind of piqued my ears, got my interest going, kind of put up my my alertness.
Yeah.
Did anything with Darius Robinson change your mind today about how we already felt about him?
I thought he looked really good physically. He's a 285-pound man, and he looked very lean to be that big, darn near 300 pounds. But he looked a little stiff to me at times. Obviously, he's not as twitched up as some of these other guys, and for me, that's what I'm looking for. Today, I was looking for him to do something that made me think that he is head over heels better than Pascal and Kaminsky. Right? That Pascal and Kaminsky just aren't even in the same class as him. I was also looking for him to do something to show me that he's not a defensive tackle, right? To just completely differentiate himself from playing down inside. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked like a good prospect, but he didn't look like first round pick to me for what we do in Detroit and what we're looking for in Detroit. Now, if we didn't have guys like Pascal and Kaminsky who could go out there and anchor in the run game, and we were looking for somebody to come out on the edge and be an anchor and be a stud and be somebody who could be stout in the run game and then give us a little bit something in the pass rush, then I would probably be more interested in him. But because of those things, I'm out on him. He's I think he'll go to the right. If he goes to the right team, he'll be an impact player. But for us, I just don't see it as a good fit. I think we need somebody more like a Jared Verse, a Chop Robinson, somebody that is going to be able to play the edge and go get the passer.
I'll say this. Don't know about his interviews, but the interviews I've seen from him before the workouts on Twitter, TikTok, people asking him questions about, his ties to Detroit. He's from Michigan, from the Canton area. He came out and publicly said, I'm a Detroit Lions fan. Pretty much like it sounded like he's begging the Detroit Lions to draft him. I assume one of the, I can't confirm this. I'm not 100% sure. I assume one of the 18 teams who interviewed him was the Detroit Lions, with where he's going to be in the draft, position of need, defensive end. So it just kind of piqued my interest that 18 teams wanted to talk to him, and just doing the math, I have to assume some of those teams are pretty high up there and probably the teens. And I could look at a situation and say, is this the kind of guy that's a team is going to want to trade back into the first round for and get after they've already made a selection? That's why I'm interested in him.
Maybe, man. Maybe. For me, I'd have to do some more digging to see who needs an anchor DN. But for me, as far as the Detroit Lions go, I don't see it. I think he's a good prospect. I think he can, like I said, be that anchor for a team. I just don't think it's a good fit for the Detroit Lions. And too many people ran well, man. Too many linebackers and edge rushers ran well today, to me, for us to get another guy who's going to be stout in the run game. We have a solid run game. We proved that last season. We need to go get some guys who can run down these passers in the NFL.
Who else stuck out for you?
Edrin Cooper. Good night.
Oh, talk to him.
Good night.
Because I didn't get to watch his workout. I didn't get to watch his 40 times. So this part's
I believe it. Let me check. I think it was 4.51. I said, but let me double verify. I got it down. Yeah, he ran a 4.51. I don't know if you know anything about Edrin Cooper. He's a hunter and he's got a ton of dogs. I think he's got like 6 dogs. I don't know if his dogs were chasing him or what was going on, but dude was flying. He was one of the faster running backs. Running backs. He looked like a running back, but he was running.
He might be. He might be.
But he
RB3 take over Craig Reynolds' job.
Yeah, but he looked like one of the faster linebackers, man. Like even by the eyeball test. I'm not just talking about his time. But he just looked great, man. He looked great all day. I feel like he's separated himself. He's, to me, and this is gonna be kind of a hot take, right?
Uh-oh, get ready. Here we go.
I think Peyton Wilson is the best linebacker in the draft, right? But dude's never healthy, right? He ran a 4.4 something. Like, he was absolutely lightning in a bottle and all of these things. And I think somebody's probably going to draft him and he's going to be banged up. And not that I wish that. I don't wish that on any guy, any of these guys, but historically throughout his career, he's been banged up. The guy ran a 4.43 as I'm looking at it now. He was an absolute blazer. He looked like an absolute athlete. But Edgerrin Cooper, to me, is clearly the best linebacker in this draft when it comes to durability and a guy that's going to actually be on the field. I think that you might see Peyton, somebody take a chance on him because of his ability and him being a tackling machine. When he's out there, he's a dog now. He's a dog when he's
got to be out there.
He's got to be out there. What do they say? The best ability is availability. And if you ain't out there playing and you've shown, Derrick Henry said something that just made total sense to me. People asked him when he got to the NFL, was it as easy as it was in college? Because he's so big and physically dominant. And Derrick Henry, King Henry, the one that's stiff-arming people into the moon, right, said that it's different when you get to the NFL. These are grown men. And you know what I mean? So if he was having trouble with his body holding up against children, what's it going to be like when he's dealing with grown men every day at work and then an even higher intensity level on Sundays? That for that reason, Edgerrin Cooper, to me, completely separated himself. He looked phenomenal in the drills. Obviously a great 40 time. I think he didn't do anything but solidify himself today.
I got a hot take.
Talk to me.
I'll tell you right now, hot take. Jared Verse was not in my top 5 today for workouts. It's workouts. I don't get overexcited about the combine. I think Jared Verse is a dog. I think he's a top 10 pick. I just don't think he did anything to hurt himself or help himself. I think he just kind of stayed the same. So I'm going to give you my top 5. And just from watching some stuff, Braden Fisk was number 1, hands down. So I got him number 1. I got Chop Robinson number 2. Byron Murphy number 3. Makai Wingo number 4. Ruka Roa number 5. With an honorable mention, I'm really going to start digging into this Mason Smith kid from LSU because he looked good. He's 6'6". He could play D tackle, D end. I'm going to start doing a little bit more digging on him, but I got an honorable mention for him.
Yeah, he's another one, man, that I talked about, and people were just hammering me in the chat about Mason Smith. When Mason Smith came in as a freshman, he was an absolute dog. He was at LSU just setting things on fire. And then he got banged up. He hurt himself. That's the one, the guys, if you go back and watch the show, he's the one that hurt himself celebrating. And then his production when he came back was just, so I don't know if he wasn't 100% healthy. You know, I don't know what the situation was behind why his production went down. But dude's a dog. And if he puts it together and figures it back out, he's going to be a guy that's going to help a team out. So, yeah, I think I don't know if I put him in my top 5 or honorable mention and top 10 even, but he's definitely
nuts. Are you nuts? Not even top 10?
He's definitely a guy that I would keep an eye on, man. No, I can't put him in my top 10 yet. I just got to see, again, best ability is availability. If you're banged up and you're not playing, if the film isn't telling me high level things and you have a good combine, I still got to revert back to this film.
Who's your top 5?
I didn't do a top 5, man. Just being honest, that's not something that I put down yet. Again, for me, it's about seeing guys that I was already in love with perform, like Mr. Fisk, and then seeing guys that either weren't high on my list or weren't on my list, going and digging into those guys after they do real good in the pajamas and seeing what they looked like on film. So for me, I'm excited about Fisk. I feel like there was nobody really that I was high on prior to the draft that did anything to completely take themselves off of my radar. I'm actually excited about the day that Verse had because I absolutely love his film so much. If for some reason he slides, it would just be Christmas morning to me, because if he slides to somewhere like 29 or in the 20s and we go up and get him, I would be absolutely overjoyed, because if I'm comparing a Jared Verse and a Chop Robinson, give me Jared Verse all day.
Can I give you a disclaimer?
Yeah.
Just because I said Jared Verse didn't have a top 5 workout does not mean he's still not in my top 5 for draft wants. Full disclaimer. Didn't think he overly impressed me today. I think he did what I expected him to do, if that makes more sense. But I just thought there were some guys who really blew me away today in a way. For Braden Fisk to be that big and run a 4.7 the way he did, run every drill smoothly. That's just kind of how I was looking at it. There's a lot of guys who are like fumbling over their feet, falling down, not doing the drills right. I remember the figure 8 drill, people throwing the towel in the hula hoop instead
Or
of setting
dropping
it
it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's the kind of stuff I was looking for, especially when you hear the coaches and trainers out there telling them what to do and they still weren't doing it. But yeah, that's my top 5. I'm excited. I think the D line really showed up today. I'm excited for the cornerbacks and defensive backs tomorrow.
Yeah.
We got some other guys we got to keep an eye on because that's another position of need for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, guys. I talked about James Williams yesterday. He didn't go with the linebackers today, so I don't
Is
know.
he going with the safeties tomorrow?
I'm assuming that
Or
he's going to
later
be
today?
I'm assuming that he's going to go with the safety. So I'm excited to see him. He's one guy because I think that he is a linebacker in the NFL, and I'm
But
interested
he's
to
probably
see.
just working out with the safeties. So keep an eye on him later tonight.
Yeah, and I don't know who makes that decision. I don't know if the combine personnel put you where you're going to be, and you know that's kind of what it is, or if you get the opportunity to choose where you want to go, or if it's predicated off snaps. Guy, put it in the comment if you know the answer to that question. Do you get to go to the combine at whatever position you want to sign up for, or do you have to go to the combine wherever you were invited or wherever you took most of your
I'm
snaps?
trying to remember. I remember when Isaiah Simmons was coming out from Clemson, and he was kind of the same thing, like a hybrid safety linebacker. I could be wrong, but I feel like he went with the linebackers. But I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know who gets to decide that. If it's him, his agent, I'm not sure. Good question, but I assume he's going to be with the safeties and defensive backs since he didn't go today.
Yeah, he'll definitely be with the safeties and the defensive backs. I'm looking to see what he runs, man. Does he run 4.4? Does he weigh 230? Is he 6'5" or 6'4"? I'll take either, because that's those are all things that could be a very, very, very big deal.
Yeah. So guys, defensive line went today. Leave it in the comments. Who was your top 5? Who stood out to you? Who helped themselves? Who hurt themselves? Leave a comment. We'll talk about it. Hit that like button. If you're new to this channel, guys, hit that subscribe button. We're not going anywhere. Combine, draft, prospects, free agency. We cover it all. Hit that subscribe button. We will see you later with some more content.
Peace.